Always a highlight of the Toyota's Motorsport UK British Rallycross Championship weekend, the Mini Rallycross Championship. And here at Pembrey, it is going to be a double header for them because there's going to be two finals with Drew Bellamy, the driver to beat after qualifying for the first ahead of James Osborne, and a slightly subdued David Bell only third. The final is good to go then. 6 laps, and it is Drew Bellamy on pole, James Osborne alongside, and then his teammate David Bell on the outside of row 1, ahead of Stephen Brown and Dave Ward. Back row, Martin Hawks and Stratis Hatzistefanis. That is how they line up. The drivers look to the lights that go green. Good getaway from the second row by Dave Ward, but is it good enough? It's a slow start by Drew Bellamy, isn't it, as they dive now into the chicane that takes you from Ollie's towards Hanson's. There's strife in the background, one car being turned sideways, look like Martin Hawks, and James Osborne goes for the joker early to get that out of the way. Across the loose they come, all sorts of strife there. Look for David Bell, and Drew Bellamy goes off the road as well. The wrong side of the markers, drops to second, and it's David Bell that leads the way, but now he goes out wide. Bellamy back on the inside. Drew Bellamy leads as they hit the tarmac for the first time. Dave Ward is third. Fourth is Steve Brown, but look at the way the top two are going at it. Drew Bellamy on the inside, trying to hang on to the lead. Up towards the Brooklands hairpin, that is Hatzistefanis, who's also jokered and has got loads of understeer out of the hairpin. But Drew Bellamy emerges from the chicane ahead, only just, but ahead nonetheless. David Bell in second place. These two have been the benchmark drivers in the championship this year. Bell won the first 3 on the bound, Silverstone, Lyddon and Pembrey, and then Drew Bellamy has won at Pembrey and at Lyddon. More go for the joker laps then as Bellamy comes across the loose. Now the race just starting to settle down a little bit more. It's not quite as ragged as they come down towards the hairpin this time around. You don't need to worry about race times either, just stay ahead. The only element of thinking about times is, have I done enough in terms of a gap to stay ahead of those that have already jokered? That's James Osborne, he jokered early. The lead gap, though, is stretching, isn't it? As they come now up towards the Brooklands hairpin into the chicane, you can see the way that Drew Bellamy is starting to just edge away a little from David Bell, former champion, and that is Stratis Hatzistefanis off the road. Doesn't look like it's a problem necessarily. He may just have made a mistake and gone the wrong side of the markers there, so hopefully he can get back on track. Dave Ward, race engineer, former circuit racer, now rallycrosser, comes across the loose. Went to watch the World Rallycross at Silverstone a year ago with his family and quite enjoyed it himself, and seeing that his kids said, "Dad, why don't you have a go at this?" He did some research, found that he could afford to come and do the BMW Mini Championship, and he's getting better and better all the time. Comes out of the hairpin, onto the tarmac now. James Osborne chasing after him, but Osborne in a sense is the man to watch, to see as others joker where he slots in the order. Through the chicane they come. Now Osborne is inching up onto the tail of the traffic. Out of the chicane there, look goes Drew Bellamy. But David Bell, interestingly, seemingly unable at the moment to come back at her. Now if he's waiting to do this on the jokers, he needs to be a little bit closer to secure the place. But right now Bellamy looks to be in the box seat. Over to the joker section goes David Bell. There he is. Dan Tony, a former supercar racer with his Toyota Corolla many years ago. Now back onto the loose, he comes onto the normal lap. Bell ahead of teammate Osborne, so he maintains track position there. Slides his way from the loose onto the tarmac. You can see how slippery it is. And just when you think you're on tarmac and you can accelerate, some of that shale is being brought onto it, giving a coating, making that section slippy too. Stephen Brown in 1-2-3 is now on the attack, look. Former single venue rallyman, and he goes around the outside there, gains a place off Osborne, or does he? No, too much understeer, goes wide, inside of the chicane. Yes, now he's done it. No, he's not, he's on the outside, and back through goes James Osborne. Great racing between the pair of them, this. Stephen Brown had a best of second last time out at Lyddon, so maintaining that good pace here. Across the loose they come once again now. More understeer from Osborne, sends him out wide, hangs onto the place, but only just. In number 1-2-3, Brown crawling all over the back of him, gets up the inside. Has he got better drive off the corner? Yes, he has. Finds more grip, gets the acceleration, gets the grip down, and now as they sprint up towards the Brooklands hairpin, who's going to be on the inside, who's going to be ahead? They're still side by side. It's Brown on the inside line. So Steve Brown goes through, does he? Yes, this time he's done it. and secures the place. Osborne through, ahead of Ward. And then you've got Martin Hawks in the background, who's also not really showing the same pace that you normally expect to find from him. Fierce fighting we have had, no question about it. There, look, 22, Drew Bellaby coming down to the hairpin, but understeers out wide. Onto the power once again as the battles behind come across the loose section. David Bell rather looking as though he's going to have to settle for points in this race right now. Back onto the tarmac they come. There is James Osborne. He in turn goes up through the gears. But Drew Bellaby starts her last lap looking for 3 wins on the bounce here. Wheel lifting as she comes down towards Ollie's. Backing, you'll see, comes from former supercar racer Kevin Proctor, who sadly we're not seeing on the grids this year, but hopefully he'll be back next season for another crack at the British Rallycross Championship. Instead, though, keeping an eye on his neighbours and his protégés. And Drew Bellaby, carrying his colours, comes through the chicane looking for win number 3 out of 6. Down to the hairpin, scrabbles out wide, through she comes. There, in second place, look, is David Bell. And the gap between them does not seem to be coming down. Stratis Estefanis goes through. He's not in danger of being lapped, but you see how much time he lost by being off the road early on. So, Drew Bellaby on target for this 3rd win on the bounce. Checkered flag is waved, and Drew Bellaby wins race 1, effectively, of the weekend. The first final comes across the line ahead of David Bell in 2nd place. So, Drew Bellaby, a very good race, and also very useful as far as the championship is concerned. Do the race result first of all. Drew Bellaby the winner ahead of David Bell. Stephen Brown taking 3rd ahead of James Osborne, Dave Ward and Martin Hawks in 6th. So for the championship now, it is Drew Bellaby that leads the way ahead of David Bell. Steve Brown 3rd ahead of Martin Hawks. The 2nd final here at Pembrey is set to get underway. The Bell team busy preparing cars, ready head into battle again. David Bell looking good today. He tops qualifying ahead of Steve Brown. Drew Bellaby, the first final winner of the weekend, only 3rd at the end of the 3 rounds of qualifying. So the grid is formed. It is David Bell on pole position with Steve Brown alongside Drew Bellaby on the outside of the front row. Then the 2nd row, James Osborne and Martin Hawks. Dave Ward is on row 3 and missing after mechanical woes, Stratis Hatsistefanis. Lights go to green, away they go with a good start by David Bell then. The man on the inside of the grid from pole position gets the whole shot, gets the run up towards turn 1. Drew Bellaby up to 2nd from the outside line, and Stephen Brown from the middle of the front row really is the one that's gone backwards there. They come now across that loose section, and David Bell, who was the runner-up in the first final, looking to try and win the 2nd, but Drew Bellaby right there behind him. You see on a drier track how the shale almost gets swept aside, so there's a pretty much almost tarmac racing line for the majority of that section on the infield. David Bell has the advantage then up towards the end of Speedway Straight and the Brooklands hairpin. Bellaby tighter line on the inside, looks for a way by, can't find a way through though. Brown is hanging on a 3rd ahead of Ward, but it's going to be a battle between the only 2 drivers that have taken a win this year, David Bell and Drew Bellaby. Together they come with David Bell going a little bit wide there at Ollie's. That enables Drew Bellaby the chance to close a little further. Steve Brown is there in 3rd spot as he comes across the loose, goes for the joker, gives up 3rd place at least for the moment. There you've got Dave Ward, who's also going nicely ahead of James Osborne as they dance their way across that loose section. Osborne behind him with lots of car speed, carried in towards the chicane. And there, out of the hairpin, onto tarmac once more, up through the gears. Relatively small engine cars, all scrabbling for grip, all trying to get back up to full pace. Up front, it's David Bell that leads the way. The reigning champion is looking very strong indeed here, keeping Drew Bellaby behind him. Out of the chicane they come then now, across the fast tarmac section, but heavy braking for this very tight left-hander. You loop round through Ollie's and then on towards Hanson's. David Bell ignores the joker this time. But see, on this so-called loose section, how on a dry day, all of that shale gets swept to one side. So go offline, it is going to be much slower, much dirtier, much more slippery. But online, it's virtually tarmac. Across the loose, then, they have gone back to tarmac, proper tarmac now. And Ward and Osborne run together third and fourth. They've got work to do, though, to catch up with this man, David Bell, looking mighty strong up front. Drew Bellaby, whose sister Paige has been in super national duties but has had mechanical woes today. She is there in second spot, gap back to the rest of them. Bell on target seemingly now for victory number 4 of the year. Silverstone, Liddon, Pembrey early on, and now this will bring to an end Drew Bellaby's winning streak, because it is 3-all, the first 3 to Bell, the second 3 in a row to Bellaby. David Bell across that loose section to the hairpin. He's done the joker. That puts Drew Bellaby ahead for the moment. James Osborne going through in third place, so he too now putting himself up ahead of David Ward. There is Bellaby deep into the Brooklands hairpin. Can't afford any errors whatsoever. They're going to be fighting for tenths of a second now. It's so close between the top 2. That's Steve Brown running fourth on the road. Goes out of the chicane and now accelerates on towards the timing line once again. Through goes Brown, closing up onto the back of Osborne now. So right now, James Osborne, fending off the challenge of Steve Brown, comes with lots of speed into that little chicane, hangs on to it, but loses momentum, and so Brown is right there behind him, looking for a way through, almost stabbing his nose up the inside there. Onto tarmac, and Brown gets, in a sense, track position. He's got the inside line for this corner, assuming he's got the grunt in a straight line to stay alongside, and he just about has. There is Bell, through in second place. Look in the background, who is going to be third. Brown's gone through. Steve Brown does it. He moves up one place, goes into third spot now. Drew Bellaby across that loose section. Goes for the joker this time. Remember, it's longer, remember, it's slower. And so David Bell goes back through. Bell retakes the race lead as they come down to the chicane. And so David Bell is on target for win number 4, despite the efforts here of Drew Bellaby. Through she turns, back onto the power now, and accelerates along the Speedway straight section up towards the Brooklands hairpin, but there's no stopping, it seems, right now. David Bell. Steve Brown is keeping James Osborne at bay. They come out of that chicane, back to tarmac, and onto the last lap they go. So it'll make it 4-3, Bell over Bellaby, and this will be very good news indeed for David within the championship, outscoring the championship leader. Steve Brown, third in the championship coming into this race. Over that loose surface they come once again. Drivers having to cope with a road that was very wet early on and now gets drier and faster all the time. Grip level changing. Back to tarmac and heading to the checkered flag is David Bell, underlining why he is a champion and why you never rule him out. Goes left through Brooklands, wriggles out of the chicane to get back onto the power to head up towards the timing line. Drew Bellaby is going to be second, and Steve Brown is set for another podium in third place as they come over the line. But David Bell wins at Pembrey. David Bell victorious ahead of Drew Bellaby, and then in third spot Steve Brown at the end of another all-action BMW Mini Rallycross Championship final. So Drew Bellaby still has the championship lead, but the gap's down a bit now. David Bell second, Steve Brown in third, with Croft to decide the outcome.